modified family. It's been long overdue for another video to be made. I'm waiting for this battery to charge so I can knock down some weeds in the backyard. It's not my weed whacker, do not ask. It's gas for life here. But today we are working on the wagon. That's what the people have been asking for. Like, why haven't we seen the wagon? Put some more wagon videos up. Okay, I'm working on it. So the reason that the wagon's not running, besides we pulled the motor out of it, the motor had zero problems. It was just a little tired because it was an automatic circa 1991. But the wheel bearings were bad. It sounded like a brake lathe the whole time. So I have new wheel bearings. The bearings are the same for the DA Integra and for the wagon. So I've read. So that means that when I put in the B18B1 with DA intermediate shaft and half shafts, they should slide right in. So today I'm gonna try to work on that. I also need to get to the rack and pinion. I have it new, it's sitting out over here somewhere. Let's see if you can see this. Bam, so behind my wing, there's a rack and pinion right there. But today, let's try to knock this out and make it take under 10 minutes video time. All right, give me 5 on my black hand side and let's go. Here is the wagon as we've left it. The motor is out. Everything had been cleaned and got re-dirty again. And all these spider webs moved into its place. So I need to clean that out real quick because I'm not deathly afraid of spiders. I just do not like them. So I will have the front end jacked up. This should be high enough. Yep, high enough. You can hear that. When this thing spins, that's why the wheel bearings are bad, because the bearings were that bad. So I'm gonna be very safe. I have my Duralast jack. It's not from Harbor Freight, and my Pittsburgh shop jack. So that has it up. I'm gonna put that under here. And a friend from the gym gave me this whole lift that I need to get installed in the garage once this area is all cleaned out. And I'm super excited about this. It's just a free come up, and I'm really thankful for that, for anything that comes my way, because, you know, not paid, not sponsored. So yeah, get in here. This wheel's coming off, and that should open us up, because we're just replacing the bearings because we think the hubs are fine. So we will see, and we're getting into it. So that was a pretty easy first step. First things first is, one, take your wheels off. This only had 2 lug nuts because this is just made to roll around, but there's nothing connecting anything. So next, the caliper has to come off to get the rotor off. And then there should be a special tool that I'm promised that we have that's gonna help at least get this hub separated, the bearing separated from the hub. Going back in, I'm not sure how that works. So I'm learning as we're doing it. I'm not gonna do it in real time, but I'm gonna try to keep updating you through the process. You should know how to take these off. There's a bracket that holds us on through the back. So we'll get those off, and this whole piece will separate, and we'll hang this up somewhere so it's out of the way. And then this looks so rusty and bad. I have new rotors for this, but I'm not gonna put it on right now. But yeah, and yeah, the rack and pinion was so sloppy on this thing. I could see it leaking everywhere. There was so much oil that we cleaned out of this engine bay. And so it'll keep getting better and better the more we work on it. We're so close to hitting the streets with this bad boy. And just think of people be looking at us like so jealous, like eating chips in church. You know, they have that disgusted look on their face, but they're jealous of you. All right, we made quick work of that. It's just 2 17 millimeters that hold on this bracket, that holds it onto the back right behind the rotor. So now we need this impact driver. And this is always fun. I always have a hard time with it, but so I'm not going to film that because I can't do both at the same time. And I just don't want you to see me looking like a dang fool. But yeah, so I'm going to hit it, and it's going to hit that driver, and it's going to hopefully break these loose. I'm going to try to find some fluid for these two. Oh man, and there was a spider in there. I'm pretty sure it's dead. None of these webs felt like Black Widow, but I'm still very apprehensive because I don't really love spiders, but there was a lot. But I was able to stick my afro head in here without any problem. But we're moving right along. These brake lines appear to be good, so I'm trying to reuse them, so I'm not letting it hang. That's why it's tied off over there. So this is that driver I was talking about. So I was just whacking away on these, and I've been doing a little CrossFit lately, and I broke the end of this bit. So that may not be the best sign for us today, but we will keep soldiering on. So that got fun real quick. See, we had to drill those out. So we should be able to get those out hopefully with pliers or something. And we just kind of beat it on the rotor a little bit once we drilled them out. And I'm definitely not going to reuse this one. I do have new ones. So I just don't want to put them on right now because I don't know how much longer the wagon's going to sit. Hopefully this will be the last day it's sitting, but I know that that's not the truth. this is the fancy tool that my housemate has that should help us get this hub out. And so if you're doing it this at home, obviously you'd have to pull out the half shaft. This just so happens to be out because there's no motor in this car. Currently, it's sitting on the other side of the car in the weeds. If anyone needs a D15 with an automatic transmission, hit me up or just come pick it up. I'm in California. I'll tell you where when you hit me up. We lost the instructions for this, so we're not exactly sure how to use it, and it was kind of coming, but not really. So we're going to try to use this thing called the Porter Power, which I think it's for body work, honestly. But basically, we're going to brace it against something solid like the frame, and just push the hub out using hydraulic pressure. Oh yeah. So yeah, let's be cranking around that thing, Acme Tunes kind of style, but we're getting it. This is going to happen. As you can see, the sun is sinking fast, but this is not a really high light needing job, but it's getting done finally, and I'm just happy to be making progress. It's out. The Porter Power didn't work. He ended up taking one of the rods from the Porter Power with this big old hammer and just knocking it out. So that's a good step. So not only was this crapping out on us for the plans that we have for the future, also I'm going to replace those. Even though these were all good, none of them are shipped, no problem, but we getting these big ones in there. So this is the time to do this, because this is such a hassle. So yeah, getting all this stuff out. There's a ring in here, a snap ring. Hold this. Zoom in on that. Oh, there we go. Look at that. 2.4. A little grainy though. You gotta have snap ring pliers. I don't think there's anything else you can use besides snap ring pliers. Ooh. Grab a straight. Alright, we'll be back when this is out. So this is this tool in action. Not sure why it wouldn't work with the hub on there, but we got that out. And so this is just trying to pull the remainder of the bearing, because they're two pieces, so they separate. And so you can put them in, but when you take them out, they come apart. So this is pretty neat. So also before this is a snap ring you had to remove. It's now going to allow that to come out, is what we're told. But we'll see how it goes. The sun is down, so now this main part of the bearing is out. The only piece left on here is that last piece. As you see, they separate the two inside there, so half of it's there, half of it's there. So to get this one on, well, first you need to get this back into the car. This one needs to come off, and then we knocked these out so that the new extended ones can go in. So it's moving along. The sun is well down right now, so hopefully we can work by the light of the garage that we have. So we're just keeping this thing rolling. We'll get one whole side done probably today, and then we'll work on the other one off camera another day in the daylight. This is a weird aside, but this was the tool I was brought to whack the weeds, and we got some Jurassic Park weeds out back, and this is definitely not doing the thing, so I'm working on that problem. But 0-6ing this, he was able to get that last piece of the bearing off. So you cut diagonally, then you tap it with a chisel until it works its way off. So I think that's the most ideal situation you were hoping for. So we're back into it. Are you putting the assembly lube on there? So he put some engine assembly lube. I think you just need some sort of lubricant that's lubricated enough. And now we're gonna gently tap that bearing back into its spot. The snap ring we took off is going to go right in place to hold it. There's a dust ring that is on the Civics that needs to come off before you go to a B swap. I've seen that in lots of things, so make a note of that. So updating from here, bearing is in the hub, well, no, bearing is in the arm, whatever that thing's called. And so now we are trying to push these in the rest of the way. Now we had like a socket and then a lug nut that was open-ended, and we got these as close as we could with that. So now we're trying to set up an apparatus so we can give these a little love. So I think we're going to use this steel plate plus one of the pieces from that kit. We're just getting as much use out of it as possible. It's going to be very loud, so I'm not going to record this, but hopefully when we come back, these should be in, and then this should be ready to go back into the car. I don't think it's that much closer. That wasn't that loud, was it? That worked? Almost. So that's probably the way we'll get the rest of the way in. So yeah, it's sliding in straight. We're using that tool again, probably for its intended purpose. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's doing what it's supposed to, but right now it does. And once this is in for the night, we're gonna clean up. Everything goes back together as normal. We can leave the brake hanging where it is. I don't even need to know if we need to put the front brakes back on here, just for the pure fact that the rotors need to be changed, the pads need to be changed. The pads actually weren't that bad, but why not do both at the same time anyway, just to make sure everything's fresh, especially when that LS motor goes in here. I want good stopping power, even though I don't plan on hot rodding this thing. I'm gonna drive nice and slow so everyone could see me. But it's definitely coming along, and this was the main thing that needed to be done that was holding up everything else. All right, that's how it looks. Ooh. How nice is it to hear it spin with no noise. These are very important bolts. I'm just gonna sit them back in there so they do not get lost. I think I'm gonna just sit this back on here. If I can figure that out. One hand. Can we see? Can you see? There's one. There's two. Yeah, nice. And so I'm gonna sweep up these metal shavings. This is that dust ring that I need to make sure stays off, so I'm actually gonna trash that. Ta-da! I'm gonna put the tire on and set this thing on the ground. Thank you for coming with me, Modified Family. We'll get to the other side. I might show a little bit more now that we can do it in a little bit more of a concise fashion, but I'm not really worried about putting this on right now. It's kind of out of the way. All right, have a good night.